This is your friendly neighborhood PhD, and you're listening to the TyePod.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. It's another episode of the TyePod, and I'm excited to be joined by two hosts of Raising Disabled, which is a podcast where Deonna and Rhandyl both talk about disability I know you both have raised kids with disabilities, and we'll get into a little bit of that, but I know there's probably several things that we all relate to and want to share. So it's great to have you both on, and looking forward to talking.
Thank you for having us.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'm
And
excited.
I have to mention the Lubbock connection first of all, because I know you both live there right now, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Yep. And I was born there, lived there a couple years, and then I've been through there a lot. So definitely familiar with the area.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We love it.
Not many people hear of Lubbock unless it's something
Texas
with
Tech.
Texas Tech.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. And the very, very flat area for sure. Not a lot of
Yeah, I know.
anything, so.
Sometimes in the spring you're like, why do I live here? It's so windy and nasty, but
Yeah.
the rest of the year it's kind of fun.
Yeah. There's pros and cons, right? For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But no, I wanted to start off with a little bit of an icebreaker question, and I know I gave you very short notice on that one, but I'm curious, like for me within the disabled area and everything, there's a lot of music and songs that kind of resonate lyrically with kind of my journey, or maybe that kind of lift me up or help me through the harder times. But I'm curious if you both have one that comes to mind that's maybe a current one that really resonates, or one from maybe years ago.
Yeah. So I'm Deonna, and I love the song Stronger by Ellie Holcomb. We've kind of made that my daughter's anthem, and we'll talk about her later, but it's talking about how strong you are as a girl, and we love it. We sing it all the time, and so that one's really good. There's a lot of faith-based songs that we listen to a lot that I feel good about, and one of the ones recently that was kind of funny, and it's what Taylor Swift, when she says, I can do it with a broken heart. And a lot of parents of disabled kids have also kind of latched onto that, because as parents of disabled kids, our hearts do, either shatter, crack, all the things.
Right.
When we find out this is the life our kid's going to have to go through, it's really hard, but it's kind of this fun anthem for a lot of parents about how you can do it. And so that one too, but oh man, we listen to music at our house 24/7. There's so many good
same
ones.
Here.
Yeah. Well, I could probably make a whole playlist of them, but
yeah. Right, exactly. How about you, Randall? Is there one that comes to mind?
Well, I have a lot as well. So I listen to mostly country, honestly. And I would say whenever I am down or having a stressful anxiety, something's going on with my daughter, I definitely turn to worship music. And that's kind of where I don't necessarily have a specific song.
But that
area, and it just, I'm able to just calm down my anxiety with worship music. And I really like just old hymns, honestly, the old school hymns are kind of my favorite. And so but yeah, I don't have a specific song that I can tell you about, but I'm Randall. Sorry, I'm Randall, and we'll get to our story with my daughter soon, I'm sure.
No, that makes sense. I know that with the more I talk to people and then look at my own musical tastes, they're so diverse and so many songs that fit the moment or what's going on. So it's really hard to kind of pinpoint one that is just a go-to by itself. So but yeah, I'm curious actually, as an aside, the Taylor Swift thing, where do you guys land on that kind of thing? I know it's the new album and stuff is a little bit debated.
I definitely have listened to it a couple times, but there's some songs on it that my kid can't listen to. I was listening the first time and was like, "Oh my gosh." And so, yeah, she's not really getting to listen to all the songs on this one, but
Right,
she
right.
likes the older stuff, like, from back, not the country stuff as much, but she likes all the fun
Kind of
pop
that
stuff from
in-between pop
the
where
in between. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
before she
you have to
started like
definitely be
dropping the F-bomb in there, she
yeah. You
we
gotta be
let
a
out.
little selective now on what songs you listen to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
for
never been
sure.
I've never been a
Yeah,
Swiftie. I
yeah.
mentioned earlier, I like country, and I remember
Yeah.
like the 90s era country music.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
And
good stuff
man.
there.
That
I
Yeah,
was
I
the
miss
remember,
best.
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
and so that's like still kind of where I live. And so but I
yeah.
remember like I was in high school, like early college, when Taylor was kind of starting her
Starting out, yeah.
Yeah.
career in country, and I just
Didn't feel
wasn't a
it so
fan of her
much.
then, and then
Yeah,
was glad when she went into pop. But
yeah.
I'm one of those. I'm not a Swiftie, but Remy, my daughter,
Yeah.
she loves it seems like every time like we're listening to Pandora or whatever we're listening
Mhm.
to on Kids Bop or whatever station,
Right,
and there's
right.
a Taylor Swift song come on, she gets so excited. I'm like, oh gosh, I did
She's
not raise
becoming
you
a
right.
Swiftie
Yeah,
against your
and now
better.
you probably have
I
many more
know.
years of that coming up
I know.
that
Yeah, that's
yeah,
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah,
I kind of liked Taylor back in the day and
yeah.
then kind of forgot about her. I wasn't really listening.
Mhm.
But then my daughter got real into her during Eras tour. Like we didn't go, but
Okay.
she just got real into her after seeing the movie and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, but lately she hasn't been able to listen to the new stuff. So it's like
And
not
I
really
think
kid
typically
friendly.
they release like a edited version maybe or
The clean,
something, but
yeah.
yeah.
Some of those
Yeah.
songs on this one aren't going to be able to be cleaned up.
Well, I was gonna say there's only so much you can
The
do with certain
subject
ones.
matter.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
But
agree. But that's
she
kind of a hot
does.
button topic for people right now. So
It is. Oh my
yeah,
gosh. But she does like her a lot. It's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. Well, that's actually probably a good segue then into if you want to talk a little bit about your kids, like what, they've like what the medical situation was, just however much detail maybe you want to put in, just
Yeah.
more of an overview.
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
So I'm Randall, and my daughter's Remy. She is
Mhm.
9. She was born premature, 32 weeks, all very expectedly, and um, she spent the first 15 months of her life inpatient. Um, about half of that time was in the NICU, and then she was transferred to another floor, but she ultimately could not breathe on her own and required a trach. She
Mhm.
had severe tracheobronchomalacia. We discovered at about 2 months old. And so she got her trach and a G button at 3 months old. And then she finally was stable enough after 15 months to come home. And so when she came home, which we were in Houston, we were transferred to Houston to Texas Children's Hospital
Mhm.
from our local hospital here. And she spent the majority of that 15 months there in Houston. And so she came home. When she did come back home, she was on a ventilator
Mhm.
and was had to be on the vent for about 3 or 4 years total, non-stop, like 24/7.
Mhm.
And she at 2, she had a surgery that helped open up her airway. We would travel to Boston Children's, and had a pretty invasive surgery that helped stent her airways open. And then it took a few years of weaning her ventilator settings, and then now she's able to come off of her vent during when she's like good and healthy and when she's awake. But yeah, so she's had that's kind of medical. I mean, there's a whole lot in between there, but that's a elevator
Yeah.
pitch. But yeah, so um we don't have any other diagnoses. She's kind of undiagnosed as far as like the rest of her disabilities.
Uh-huh.
So um she is the happiest, smartest, sassiest little girl.
Mm.
Um, and she being ventilated all those years on really high settings, she didn't really get to use her voice until she started being able to use her voice around 4 or 5 years old.
Mhm.
And then she's just now, so she's 9 now, and she's just now starting to put two words together
Mhm.
verbally, but she uses a communication device to
Okay.
communicate. And she is in a wheelchair, but she walks with a gait trainer with some
Oh, okay.
assistance.
Yeah.
She's really low tone. She's very delayed as far as like her developmental milestones, but um, man, she still progresses. It's crazy. I remember like when she got close to 3, reading things that, oh, if they're not doing this by age 3, it's probably never going to happen. And I love to like tell parents, no, that is not the case. For
I always have a
example,
problem with those exact timelines that they give out.
oh, the timelines were the worst in the beginning. They gave us so many false hopes, oh, by this time she'll be a normal, healthy kid. And then it became pretty clear that was not going to be the case. And so, um, but man, she goes to school. She's in 3rd grade. She is a social butterfly.
Mhm.
Yeah, she goes to school. She loves going on outings, field trips, vacations, family get-togethers, all you name it. She's in the middle of it. Her favorite thing right now is clothes. She's obsessed with like fashion, I guess, because she gets super excited when there's like a new outfit and she wants to see herself in the mirror. And it's like, your typical 9-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And she's obsessed with Disney, really anything Disney. Those are kind of her things right now. But
Has she been to Disneyland or Disney World yet, or are you
not
thinking about?
yet.
Yeah.
We've thought about maybe next year.
Mhm.
We've had people want to like um do like grant her a Make-A-Wish.
I was wondering about that. Yeah.
And we haven't done one yet. And so we, our biggest fear with that is the travel. Cause she's never flown commercial. She's only flown
Okay.
like medical airplane, medical jets.
Same for us.
So that's like our biggest fear is the like travel and her
Right.
oxygen requirements and needs if she did
And the
need all that
wheelchair
else.
probably, and like there's
All of
yeah,
it.
We
Oh
would
my
there's a
have
gosh,
to
lot.
it's so much
drive.
equipment.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and you're right.
So
Like if you go the vehicle route, like if you drive, then that's a whole
It's
other set
far.
of
I mean, that's a whole nother
issues.
week
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
travel.
So
So yeah.
it's neither option is very easy for
No,
sure.
but we that is definitely a goal for
Yeah.
us and my and then her little brother would love it and he's 4.
So he's
So
getting close to the age where he'd kind of know what's going on. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they get
Yeah.
along pretty well together?
Yeah, it's cute to watch their dynamic. Well, it took Remy actually a couple of years to adjust to her brother. She
Mm,
was super jealous and yeah, it took, I'm not even kidding when I say a couple of years, but now it's cute to see like now that he's more mature
mhm.
and he wants to help out a lot and it's so cute to just watch him like just involve her in everything,
Yeah.
just subconsciously, like he just, he
Just
knows. And
naturally
so,
interacting with her.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they love, oh my gosh, they roughhouse, they act like siblings. Any
Oh, that's
chance she
good.
gets, she pulls his hair, she pulls his
Ooh.
clothes and yanks him around. And
Oh, nice.
he just kind of goes with it and like gets away from
Yeah.
her um, and then, they'll kind of wrestle and
Mhm.
she's rough and
Yeah.
it's like he knows where to like not to where to be cautious at,
Well, I
but
wondered if
we
wife
kind of let
got
him
that
get at we
experience.
kind of let yeah, it's really
Yeah.
cool to see the dynamic as he gets older and as she gets older. It's really really cool to see. So yeah,
Yeah.
they get along, but they fight just like regular siblings. They
Just
get
regular siblings.
jealous.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that there's still that younger, child energy, I feel
Yeah.
like,
Oh
regardless
yeah.
of the disability thing. But that's awesome. Deanna, I wanted to get to your story too with that.
Yeah, so I'm Deonna, and my story is a little different, but our daughters have a lot of the same types of things in common, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. But my daughter's also 9, and she was 4 years old. We thought she was just typical healthy kid, but she fell off our couch in November of 2020, so like height of COVID, of course,
Mhm.
and she was paralyzed almost instantly, and it wasn't a bad fall, it wasn't like she fell off a two-story building or something. And so they were trying to figure out what was wrong, and we lived in El Paso, Texas at the time, and they didn't really know what was going on there. We were there for about 6 weeks, and she was intubated that day. So it was such a bizarre thing, and nobody really knew it was happening. She coded a lot during that time because they just were confused, I guess, about what was going on. But we also got airlifted to Texas Children's in like about, I don't know, or late November, early December of 2020. And we get there and they said she had actually had a massive spinal cord stroke from what's called Chiari malformation. It's basically like your brain is shoved down into your spinal cord, which a lot of people are walking around with that and they just don't know they have it. But if she fell just right, it's kind of like a 1 in a million injury, really. But
it was all
the
based on the way the fall happened. Like it
yeah, the
wasn't.
way the fall happened
Yeah.
and the fact that her brain was like down in her spinal cord and it wasn't
Already.
supposed to be. Yeah. So we found that out. They basically gave us a 0% chance of recovery. I mean, they just were like, it is what it is. It's happened. And so she had gotten a trach and everything. She's been on the vent ever since. And so obviously, same trauma Randall went through, just I had an older kid. It was just weird, having a
Yeah.
4-year-old that you thought was gonna be living this life,
It's a
and now
different
she's
dynamic.
living this life. Yeah. So, yeah, obviously a lot of the same kind of traumas, but we were in Texas Children's in Houston. Me, my husband, and my son all went together, and we had to get like an apartment and stay there for about, I don't know, 180, 200 days, something like that.
Was there any help like Ronald McDonald House or anything that you used at
So,
that? Or?
yeah, we had looked into a place similar to where Randall stayed, like an apartment, It was all full and had tons of restrictions because of COVID. Ronald McDonald House had some availability, but they were only allowing one parent because of COVID. And
They were really
so,
restricting the number
but
of people that could
yeah,
be.
I mean, I think if
We
things had
we
happened,
stayed in Ronald McDonald House. Sorry.
Oh, you did?
no,
Okay.
you're good.
For about a month.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little over a month. We had got on a wait list. So Remy was our first, obviously. And so my husband had to continue working in Lubbock. Obviously, we had to keep our insurance. And so he was a nurse, luckily, like shift work. So he would work,
Well,
a
that was
long
kind of
stretch.
convenient,
And then,
though, in a way.
yeah, it was. And then, but we got on a wait list for, it was like called the church ministry apartments, and a bunch of churches they like rent apartments all down in the medical district, and they're fully furnished. And it's just like a daily fee that you end up getting, like having, and it's more affordable than
Like a
trying to find
hotel.
the hotel.
Yeah.
We had a hotel situation for like the first week, and then we
That's
got into
hard,
Ronald
yeah.
McDonald. But yeah, so then we were finally able to get into those apartments. I want to say it was around Thanksgiving, and we had got there like or mid-October. So yeah.
Yeah, those apartments are so cool. We definitely wanted to do that. But I love Ronald McDonald House. I mean, I think it's an amazing charity.
Absolutely.
I think the thing with us was like, my husband had a job where they basically let him leave and kept paying him, which is the most rare thing. I've never heard of
It's not common.
anybody having this. So that was a weird thing that we got to have, him being there. But we wanted our son there. He was obviously traumatized, and he didn't want to be away from his mom and dad, and we didn't, it was just a weird deal having an older kid with you. But because he was only in, I think, second grade at the time.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we ended up having to spend an arm and a leg staying at a apartment in this high rise across the street from Texas Children's. But, she could get in her stander and see her brother out the window because they weren't allowing him in the hospital.
Oh, because of COVID, I guess, mainly.
Yeah,
Or...
he basically one time a doctor allowed us to go down some sort of weird access elevator that only the custodians use. And we snuck down there essentially with some nurses and RTs, and my son met us outside in this weird back area. And then, so that was cool. But yeah, so that's kind of our story. That all happened that was tough, but she had a long road of recovery just to be able to sit up in a wheelchair and just lots of therapy and stuff like that. But her her prognosis as far as like walking and stuff, but she has had huge improvements compared to back then. She was very, very fragile, and our 2021 was pretty terrible because we brought her home and she was just in and out of the hospital every 20 days because we didn't know what we were doing. But we figured out a lot along the way. And so she's actually doing pretty well overall right now. And she can still talk, she can still eat. She didn't lose her cognitive abilities, which was very, very exciting because, when you have a major stroke like that, that's always on the table. So she does pretty well, but yeah, she's 9 now, so 5 years of craziness for sure.
Well, and I just can't believe too how COVID was that extra layer of just insanity, going on at the same time.
It was kind of like pros and cons.
Yeah,
The
right.
negative was just the fear of her getting it. And, same with Randall's kid, Remy. It's like, if they had gotten COVID at the height when it was like extra, extra bad, like, I don't know if they'd be here today. So you're really glad that didn't happen. But it kind of did. The good thing about it was it forced me and my husband, because we didn't get to be in there ever at the same time.
That was hard.
So it was hard, but it forced me to learn everything. And then it forced my husband to learn everything. We had to room in kind of separately a little bit. Then we did the together one. They did let us come in for that together.
Do you both feel like you're kind of unofficial nurses basically at this point?
I mean, we do. Sometimes it offends like nurses when we say that, but
I get it.
I mean, I actually know more about most nurses
Absolutely.
about my kid. Now, I don't know the full picture, but like,
totally.
Me and Randall talk about this, but and Randall's husband actually is a nurse, so that's a nice thing too.
Oh, that's right. Hey, you are. That's right.
Yeah, but not pediatrics. He's like, but that's a funny story. Whenever I always like to tell this, when he got out of nursing school, his mom had asked him like, what field do you want to go into? And he's like, I don't really know, but all I know is I don't want to do pediatrics and I don't want to deal with tracheostomies. And
nice.
God was like, get ready.
There you go.
It's happening.
Yep. So, here's your tracheostomy right off the bat.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, how did you two both connect initially, and like then what led to kind of forming the podcast?
Yeah, you would tell.
Oh man. So we, like we mentioned, both of our girls were at Texas Children's Hospital different times. But we got connected through employees there. Different therapists and nurses were the same for both of our daughters. And so kind of without telling them, breaking HIPAA, they were able to get Deonna in contact with me through
They were like,
social
you should
media.
Google this girl's name. And I was like,
oh,
okay.
Nice. Like we're like not officially
They're
telling
like,
you.
just like on
HIPAA,
Facebook, but you should look this girl up. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Because they knew that they were moving to Lubbock, and they knew that that's where I was from. And so then Deonna reached out to me, and we just really connected through social media and like messaging and stuff. And they were getting ready to discharge. So there's so many things you have to like, and they weren't from Lubbock. So she was asking me, DMEs and nursing agencies, all the things. And so I was helping her out with that. And then we stayed in touch. We didn't meet in person for over a year.
Really? So like you
didn't
meet in person at the hospital?
No, because it was still kind of like when they
COVID,
came home, it was still COVID, like very restriction. And then
I was not leaving the house. It was like I was so busy.
And she was still in that we go, that fight or flight,
survival.
Totally.
So yeah, so we were messaging a lot, but then we finally did meet up in person. And this was pre-podcast or anything. And I had been wanting to do something with like advocacy and
Yeah.
something. I was told so many times about, you should do a blog, you should write a book, all this stuff. But I'm like, that's
All
not
the
me,
standard things. Yeah.
And so I was like, I really want to do a podcast, but when I personally listen to podcasts, I like to hear them with like a co-host or something. I was trying to figure out like a good way to do it. And I felt like I needed someone. And then, after meeting Deonna and like us messaging, I was like, I really think she would be good. So I randomly texted her out of the blue one day and was like, hey, do you want to start a podcast? And
Just
then
randomly. Yeah.
no, I really did. It was super random. But something was just like on me about like, just ask her. So I did. And she was like, yeah, let's meet up and talk about it. And so we did. And, the rest is history. It's 2.5 years later. And we've had a lot of trial and error and fails and things. But yeah.
I know a little bit about that feeling for
Yeah.
sure. But so I imagine when you first sort of met in person and like started, kind of figuring out how much you had in common, that had to be like, I don't know, it had to feel less lonely, I would imagine, just right away.
Yeah,
For sure.
it was crazy because I mean, that these girls sort of have the same type of life as you, but when you actually meet them in real life and you start talking, like me and Randall and these three other girls kind of have become friends, and some of our kids have had trachs, and then just like some other little things in common, but all of our kids have a pretty severe disability, I would say, like, and have, a lot going on, but it is fun. Like, we'll go out and eat dinner, and we always are cracking up because we're talking about the most morbid, disgusting, or traumatic, horrible stuff. And like people are
no
sitting next to us like,
secretions or
oh my
nothing.
gosh.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh, secretions. Like, yeah, we say all the words. And people are like, I'm trying to eat, and you're talking about your kid's mucus plug. Like, please stop. Like, oh my God. But it is nice having other girls around your age or even older. I mean, it doesn't matter.
We can all relate.
Yeah, we all kind of get it.
Yeah, actually, I know a little bit about that too. Like I met someone who's she's actually occasionally a co-host, and she was going to be on, but yeah, she has a daughter with a trach, and so like that's how we met on social media and bonded there, and then met in person once in Santa Fe, and it's just it's really cool how you kind of can form that kind of thing with social media, even though I mean you're in the same area, but like what would the odds be of connecting outside of there? So
it's like we probably all would have met at some point, but I don't know the friendship part of it. But I do feel like disability, like I was outside of this world, and I have MS. So like technically, according to, the ADA, I have a disability.
Right.
It definitely interferes with my life, but not in any way that anyone can like see yet or anything. But I just wasn't thinking about that. But disability is the coolest community, I feel like. I mean, the second I see anybody who has a disability or who has a kid or a grandparent or whatever with a disability, you just instantly feel so connected to them. It doesn't matter if you've lived any sort of the same life at all. Like, we all know that feeling, and it's hard but amazing, and I don't know, it's just a lot altogether.
It's a really cool community though. Like it's just this thread that kind of, I don't know, it's just stronger than a lot of other, sort of connections people have.
It's supportive. I mean, it really is for sure.
Yeah, like social media for sure added to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Randall. Sorry.
No, I was just thinking like it really molded my career. So like I do physical therapy. I'm a PTA, and before I had Remy, I just did like I say now it's like boring outpatient orthopedic adult, total joint replacements and things like that. And then, of course, I took quite a few years off there. And then when I started back, I mean, I had fallen in love with pediatric therapy. And so that's what I do now. And most of my caseload is all very medically complex kiddos and meeting their families because I'm in and out of their homes all the time. And I really feel like I have another level of, compassion and
Mm-hmm.
empathy, and they come to me. It's like I see them every day, and it's like I'm helping, especially the new families, like get through certain processes, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
my passion. And so, I just love like Deonna said, I mean, it just, you have a whole like awakening and a view of the world once you're
Mm-hmm.
like thrown
Yeah.
into it.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't change like my outlook to the
Right.
world now, like at
Yeah.
all. I mean,
Well,
it's
that has to mean so much too, that, having someone who actually has been through similar things, or you have that level of understanding, that a lot
yeah,
of PTs wouldn't necessarily have. So, I mean, in some
right.
ways it would be like a therapeutic element too, I feel
Yeah.
like.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of therapy, I wanted to ask you both about kind of your approach to, the mental health side of where it was initially, and then kind of how you cope with that, and and now, like, how has that evolution sort of been? And I know that's a deep question,
No,
but
it's
yeah,
I would,
important though.
yeah, summarize it as a roller coaster.
that's about right.
Yeah. There was, the initial shock, and just I was so oblivious, like my whole pregnancy, thought everything was dory normal. I kept,
Mm.
I would go to the doctor for little things early on, and they were like, "You're fine. It's it's normal. It's normal. It's normal." And then boom, all of a sudden she comes early, and nothing's normal anymore. And I was clueless, I think, for a month or so, just clueless, and I think that was a blessing in disguise. And then the hospital, it's like a blur. I mean, it's so weird. Like, it was my new normal, and I treated it like a job. Like, it was just something that I needed to learn every single thing about everything. And so it was just like, or I was just, that was my goal, is just, around the clock, like learning how to take care of my newborn, and then the hardest part was that coming home when she
Mhm.
was 15 months, and that was whenever I was in my worst mental health stage for probably at least 6 months. I mean, just in survival mode, just fight or flight all the time.
Yeah.
Um, Felt so alone. Um, we did have nursing, but it was just like we talked about earlier, like we know way more, we know everything about our kids. So it was like me training these nurses to take care of
Mhm.
this. She was so fragile when she came home, and um, I mean, we had to resuscitate her constantly. It was just a lot. And so I was just, I mean, my husband and I, neither one slept in the same bed for the first 6 months. One of us would either be in her room or right outside her door in the
Yeah.
living room. It was just a lot. And then once things got stable and we got good nursing situation, things eased up, and then it got easier and easier over the years to like kind of let go and step back. And then, like, I was trucking along really well with my mental health, and then Remy was doing really well,
Mhm.
being more stable after her surgery and all of that. And then my husband and I decided to have another kid. And so I thought, everything's gonna be okay.
Mhm.
Once we had him and he was
Yeah.
healthy, full term, everything was great, and then I get him home, and it was like all of that trauma, I guess, and all of that came back, and it was just
Mhm.
flooded back, and I was riddled with anxiety, had insomnia. It was just awful. I mean, I didn't the baby moon that everyone talks about. It was just like I was just straight back in that fight or flight mode. And um
Well,
I
all the
ended up,
smells and everything, probably like
Oh,
smells of baby lotion, like just stupid stuff like
I
that
don't
probably
know. Oh
took you
yeah,
back
it
too.
was, yeah. And I was just, I think I just couldn't comprehend like a healthy baby. I was just constantly like,
mhm.
there's something's going to
Expecting
happen.
something to
I
go
was just,
wrong. Yeah.
yes. And so I ended up getting to the point to where I had to, finally, he was like a year, and I'd been struggling with it so much. And I ended up, getting on some, antidepressants and anxiety meds to help me kind of cope with everything. And that really helped me. And then started seeing a therapist. I've kind of went off that wagon a little bit. I should be better with therapy, but um, now like I said, my son's 4. Remy's healthy. It's like right now I'm good as long as everyone is healthy and like home and safe. But any little trigger, like it will set me off. Like if there's my daughter was recently hospitalized, she decannulated, and it was a whole thing. And it was so weird. Like I told Deonna, we were back in the hospital, and it was so strange. It felt too like too normal to be in the hospital. It was like I felt like I was back in like this mode. I don't know how to explain it.
No, I know what you mean.
I felt like, okay, well, here we go. We're right back at it. And it just kind of comes back to you like you're riding a bike. I don't know. It was weird, but yeah, that's kind of where I was. And then, like I said, it's a roller coaster. Like I get hit with all of that. But
I think it's strange too, how like you don't always know what's gonna bring back some of those like triggers or memories too.
Yeah.
Like for me, even 3 or 4 years removed from when I was in ICU, just random things sometimes will just come back. I'm like, you go right back there. So it's
Yeah, the funny thing with me is like, Allie got hurt later, so I kind of had to like, I almost had to like mourn the death of the kid that I thought I was
that
going to have.
version.
So I was very unwell for a very long time. I didn't get closure on that. So it was just very traumatic. And she was coding like Remy does sometimes. And so I was very not well. I would say the whole hospitalization, it was kind of the same as like what you guys are saying. Like I went into like, this is my life now. I'm going to do what I have to do and just, suck it up or whatever. But and me and my husband handled it in different ways. Like he was eating a lot, I wasn't eating at all. Like it was really funny like how we were reacting to it, but we were also having to think of our other kid who was having, a complete traumatic experience. But yeah, people think the hospital was the most traumatic part of our stories, but when you come home and you realize you don't have nursing support that is up to the level that we would need, that was really hard. And so that was where I really started to freak out. I was having, panic attacks all the time. She was like, trying to die on us all the time. So we were doing, CPR and bagging her and doing all these things all the time. And I really thought like I'm never going to be happy again. That was really where I lived for about probably all of 2020, 2021. And then I was starting to improve actually. And I was like, okay, we're getting used to this, and then my only sibling passed away. So then I had to, and that really set me back very bad, almost to like day one level trauma, because it was a traumatic like death and stuff like that. So, that was a huge setback, but I did start therapy right after that happened. And I did it for years. My kids both have done trauma therapy or go to therapy. But I highly recommend it for disabled people or parents of disabled kids. Even if you don't do it for the rest of your life, just, try it and see, because there's things that you hold on to that you don't even realize are bothering you, and they're really, really bothering you pretty bad. But now we have like this good support system, kind of like what Randall was talking about. And so it's, I have all these people that love Allie like their own almost, that are like our nurses and stuff. And so that helped a lot too, not feeling so alone, which I didn't have the same alone feeling as Randall, because I had Randall and I had all these other moms who were kind of getting it. But yeah, I don't know, at the end of the day, it's you in your house and you have to figure it out what you're going to do. But
Right.
Yeah, it just sometimes takes Randall told me it's gonna take years to feel okay, and I
Yeah.
thought, "Oh my gosh, like, are you serious?" But it's the truth, like, you don't just and I used to say, like, when people would have, like, trauma or panic attacks or something like that, like, the old me would be like, "They just need to get over it, get tough, like, I don't know, they're fine." I didn't
Mhm.
know because I had been nothing bad had ever happened to me, but yeah, when something bad happens to you, you definitely have a lot of understanding. And so I think that's a blessing for all of us here,
Mhm.
like we understand um what that feels like, and we're not
Right.
afraid to talk to somebody if they've lost somebody, or have a kid with a disability, or if they're finding out they have like a diagnosis, like we're
Right.
not afraid to talk to them about that. And that's
Yeah.
a really cool superpower that we have, because
Oh, totally.
oh, I was terrified to talk to anybody that was disabled or talk about it, or whatever, and now I'm like, let's trauma dump out here in this public,
Yeah. Yeah.
like in the grocery store line, whatever. I don't
Right,
care.
right. And I mean, it's like not even, it's a way that you can communicate and talk right away. I feel like compared
Yeah.
to maybe someone outside the home, at some other event or somebody else, and you're trying to explain what
Yeah.
what the
Yeah.
disabled experience is, or what trauma is. So I feel like for all of the parents and patients and people that to come that are going to have these things, like social media is sitting there like ready to help, right
Mhm.
away. And
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, if I would have had that even growing up,
Oh,
how
yeah.
how helpful it
Mhm.
would have been. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
it's so cool too. You connect the caregivers with the people that actually have diagnoses, and I don't
Mhm.
know, it's just such a really cool like melting pot of disability or whatever, if you want to call it
Oh,
that.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's my daughter knows paralyzed kids from all different parts of the US, and I know their
Mhm.
moms, so we can
Yeah.
say, "Hey, have you done this? Have you done that?" And it's it makes, even though you don't know them personally and you'll probably never meet them,
Yeah.
they have your back, and they can tell you what to do.
Right, right. And you can overcome like thousands of miles
Mhm.
of barriers there through it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's really, really a big benefit, I think. But yeah,
for sure.
there's a million directions I feel like we could go, but I did want to get into the podcast side a little bit more, and like what um kind of what your mission is, who you bring on, and like, what, like, I guess what your strategy is, with the show.
Oh man, I changed and then it's not changed. Like I think we when we started it, I mean, and Deonna, you chip in, but like
Yeah.
when we first started it, we knew we wanted to have episodes of, just us two talking about, obviously in the beginning, like getting to know us and like our
Mhm.
family dynamic and stuff. And then we really wanted to get guests on, and we originally wanted to focus on really like caregivers, of kids with disabilities.
Mhm.
And so that's where we started. And we got a lot of moms in the beginning. And then we kind of wanted to, well, we probably need to, like, we really want to get dads involved. And so but it's honestly, it's harder to find. And I mean,
Yeah,
and Donna will tell you, Dane doesn't want to come on, and my husband doesn't
Well, I
necessarily
was
want to
going to
come
mention
on. They
that.
haven't
Yeah.
came on. And so
yeah.
this is a dude thing. I don't know. But
I
anyway,
honestly, and like, I can't find guests anywhere in the
Better
disabled
guys.
space hardly. Like, there's a few, but at the same time, like, it's,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And so then we started,
That's funny.
yeah, it is funny, but we have had a few dads on, but not as many as we'd like. And
yeah.
then it kind of changed. Then, so we started getting like good feedback on whenever we have our just when we catch up on our normal lives. So then we started doing, these whole catch ups before each
Mhm.
episode. And now we've kind of transitioned into like an entire episode every few months just about us catching up. And so it's evolved throughout
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
past few years, but and Deonna kind of made her goal for the podcast this year was to start talking to, um, try to get disabled people on,
Like
Yeah.
to tell
adults.
their
Yeah.
Yeah.
story,
Yeah.
adults on. Yeah. And, so that's kind of, so it's ever evolving. But yeah, Deonna, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like she said, it's called Raising Disabled. So we wanted it to be about how to raise a disabled kid, like what you should do, or, kind of be a support thing. And that's mainly what it is. I would say
Yeah.
like 70%. But even we've talked to, like, one of our favorite episodes that people still talk to us about was the sibling one, where we talked to a sibling and, she grew up in the 90s. And I mean, it was blowing our minds, like, what the difference is having a disabled sibling in the 90s versus now. I mean, it's a totally different experience in a lot of ways, but we kind of want it to be too, because, we all know what it's like to have disability or to be in that, space, but um, we want people to listen to it who are not in the disability world, because they need to know,
Right.
there's things that I wish I would have known. Like, I was in the youth group with a boy that had muscular dystrophy, actually.
Okay.
And if you kind of wish you could go back and be like, I wish I could be to him what I want people to be for my kid, but I just didn't get it, like, and yeah, I was a good kid, whatever, but like, I didn't get it, and I didn't understand what he was needing from me. And it makes you feel just like, oh man, like, I missed the point, I missed it. And so we don't want other people to feel that way. Like, we want them to understand, don't be intimidated by a disabled person, or
Yeah.
don't,
Yeah.
this or that, whatever. So we want it to be an advocacy thing too, for people
Right.
who can just listen to it and kind of be. But yeah, we have a series me and Randall both like to do called Dumb Things People Say. And that one is part of our advocacy, you know,
That sounds
thing.
very interesting.
Yeah, because we kind of
Yeah.
just go through and are like, okay, people always tell our daughters this or that. Like, maybe they'll say something like, you're so tough, or you're so brave, or so strong. Well,
Right.
that tells my daughter, hey, you can't be vulnerable. You need to be strong, because that makes me feel comfortable for you to
Yeah.
be strong. Like, I can't, and it really bothers people when they that Allie's
Yeah.
upset, or she's like down or depressed or anxious. They're like, wait, no, that doesn't fit into my image of what I need her to be to make myself feel comfortable.
Good point.
So we talk about a lot of stuff like that too, just so that people will know how to treat our kids, or how to treat
Right.
you. I mean, it's like,
Right. Right.
people do. And I used to say those dumb things. Like, me and Randall both are like, oh, we used to
Yeah.
say the dumbest
True.
things. We
Right.
didn't know.
Right.
So,
And again, like that's what a lot of people, I think, it's not even necessarily their fault. It's just they haven't been around that, or they don't know
yeah,
how
not
to
exposed.
act. And
Exactly.
yeah. And
But
that's where, like, I'm also now thinking, like, like for your other kids that are growing up with a sibling that has a disability, like they're gonna have that empathy factor right away, to take to other people
Yes.
that they meet
yeah.
with disability. And so, like, that's such a growth opportunity, I feel like, too, that they
Well,
have.
when Randall said earlier that this has molded her
Yeah.
career, I mean, it really has molded all of our every waking moment. I mean, it just, like, me and
Yeah.
Randall joke about, like, I don't care about dumb stuff. I literally don't care. I'm just like, whatever.
You're
Like, my
beyond
kid's
the petty
alive
little
today.
things.
Yes. But yeah, it really has molded my entire perspective on life. And me and Randall actually sometimes have trouble even being friends with other moms who,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, we still have friends with moms who don't have kids with disabilities, but
Hmm.
it's just harder because they're talking about their kids doing this sport or that. And you're just like, I don't care about
It's just
this.
not
Like,
part of your
and my
Yeah.
kid
world.
plays sports, but we go watch him and we're like, good job. I mean, it's like, my identity's not caught up in his football skills, or you know what I mean? And so
Exactly.
it's kind of
Yeah.
freeing when you don't care about anything
No,
anymore.
it does. It does. And I even think about, like, me being a fan of sports, like going back
Hmm.
to when I was younger, like
Yeah.
now things have progressed to the point where, it's just like, sure, it's fun or entertaining or whatever, but like I'm not gonna live and die based on something that
Yeah.
small.
Yeah, it definitely puts perspective in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Our
for
groups
sure.
are a lot smaller, and in a good way.
Hmm.
True.
Yeah.
That's very
Same.
true. But no, I love how, like, your podcast kind of like morphs into different phases, as you're going along, and like you have
Mhm.
kind of some recurring things that you try to bring back periodically. And that's, for me, that's been kind of a really fun part too, is that there are spin-off kind of topics or
Mhm.
directions that you maybe didn't even
Yeah.
think about at first. So yeah.
And it is cool how everybody has a totally different life. I mean, none of
Mm-hmm.
us are living the same life, but these moms and dads say the same kinds of things to us like over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's just weird how we all have come to the same like realizations about life.
Yeah.
And we might live thousands of miles away or, whatever, but it is cool how it's molded all of us
Yeah.
into better versions of
Yeah.
ourselves, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many of our guests that we talk to, like she said, I mean, we have like these very parallel views on life, and a
Mhm.
lot of it's just, like the little stuff doesn't matter, but the little stuff
Yeah.
matters the most, like in
Yeah,
different
true.
ways. So, yeah, it's been very eye-opening and very rewarding,
Yeah.
for sure.
And there is at least some silver lining, I think, like obviously I don't know that we would choose to go through a lot of the things that we do with disability, but at the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
time, there's things that we wouldn't have gained otherwise, I feel like. So it's
Mhm.
yeah, it is a roller coaster. That's really well put, Randall, when you were saying that. So
Fun but scary.
yeah. But I did want to ask like how people can kind of connect, find, what you all are doing and talking about if they haven't already. And yeah, I'll get that information out there too if they want to follow.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can follow us at Raising Disabled Podcast on Instagram. That's where we're the most active. We're on Facebook too at the same Raising Disabled Podcast, but um yeah, we post on there a lot, and we have a partnership with Zing Standers. Our daughters both use that equipment, so that's kind of a fun partnership that we've done that just makes sense because a lot of our listeners have children that have different types of mobility, issues or impairments, and so that's been cool. But yeah, we actually have a lot of fun on social media. We ask if we're about to talk about something, like if me and Randall are going to do an episode, just me and her together talking about something. Like one of the things coming up is we're going to talk about whether we think having a disabled kid has made us a better parent or not. Well, we always put those questions there and ask all of our followers, what they think about that. And that one particular, we got a ton of responses for. So then we take those responses, and that's how we formulate our show. And so it's not just because me and Randall have really specific views on this, obviously, with our kids. Like they both have serious medical disabilities. That's not the same as maybe having a kid who's has autism or something like that.
Sure.
And so we're trying to get the big picture. So we are very interactive. We want people to interact with us because that's the only way it's going to be. You know what I'm saying?
It's true. Yeah, that's totally right.
You can find our podcast on anywhere, podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Do you
like
do
Deonna said,
you do a
Raising
video
Disabled.
component too, don't you?
No, we
We
don't.
don't.
Okay.
We're too lazy. So we sometimes use it, but a lot of our guests are like, please don't do that. Like I did not get ready today. And usually me and Randall are like in our pajamas recording. So
I feel that. Yep. I
Yeah.
know
I'm
exactly
usually
what
like
you
in a
mean.
robe with my hair all wet, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm in my
Yeah.
basement and
Yep.
she's in the closet. Yeah. No,
It's not a good look for us.
That may be a goal. I don't know. We haven't discussed it yet, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well,
It's
and
a
we
lot of work.
record in separate rooms. Like, I stay at my house and she stays
Yeah.
at her house, even though we live in the same town. And so it's just not as, we don't meet in
Yeah.
person. We have a lot going on. It's crazy with
Oh,
our kids.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
But
But no,
maybe someday.
yeah, it's fun. And I mean, my approach is I just throw on a cap and,
Yeah.
put on the virtual background and I'm good to go. So
Yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true for real.
yeah. But no, I sure appreciate you both coming on, and I think that that's one of the coolest things too, is finding all the other podcasters out there with somewhere in the disability community, and I think us connecting and kind of amplifying, our messages when they align is a really strong way to, bring more awareness and hopefully fight some of the ableism stuff that goes on out there. So it's really great that I was able to find you and connect. And I think I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see where we go next.
Well, thank you so much for having us. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.